Hi guys, I'm Izzy and I'm here with Ian today. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Venture. And Ian, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hello everyone, my name is Ian. I was a student at UWA and then moved to San Francisco to run a tech startup, and now I'm back again.
Very cool, very great to have you here to chat today. I guess we'll get straight into it. So there's a big jump between being a student here at UWA and running a successful business in Silicon Valley. What would you say that first step was that you took to get yourself on that journey?
Well, I think the very first thing I did was part of lots of clubs at UWA, and clubs at UWA gave me the chance to try different things, and I discovered that I really liked running my own thing rather than like working in someone else's large business. And I guess that gave me the idea that I wanted to find something to work on that I was passionate about. And I had so many different options over time, but I got stuck into one idea in particular.
Okay, cool. And then how from there, I guess you said you had lots of different ideas. How did you figure out that this is the idea I want to put time and effort into?
Yeah, I think I did this subconsciously, but I think it's something you can do consciously. I came up with some criteria for what I wanted to work on by trying different things. I'd been DJing for a while. I had been running a small business for a while. I was studying law at WA, obviously. And so I learned a couple of things that I didn't want to do, which were those things, because I tried them. And then I also came up with criteria for what I would like to do, which was I got involved in some medical research, and I really enjoyed that. And I decided to follow that and combine with it some of the elements of the other things that I enjoyed, like running a business, coming up with like a big organization from scratch. And in that way, I kind of zoomed in.
Okay, cool. And then, so you're coming up with all these different ideas at uni. How do you find the right people to work on it with? That, I guess, from an idea to having a business, there'll be lots of different phases you have. How do you know that they're the right person to go on that journey with?
I think part of this answer is complicated, part of this answer is simple, or maybe obvious and non-obvious. One of the obvious things is just like people you really like spending time with. Especially running a business is really stressful and hard, and you actually want to be around the people. It makes a big difference. It's like trying to get married and have a baby. You want to really like the person you have a baby with. Otherwise, you're not going to have a very good couple of years.
Yeah.
The other part of it is people you can actually work with and brainstorm with, and you can only really find that out by doing things. And for example, I was at UWA clubs learning what kind of people do I enjoy working with, and I enjoyed working with people who had a really deep technical understanding of something that was different to me, that we could put our heads together, and then also just enjoyed being around and could brainstorm together and come up with ideas. And I found a couple of my friends that were good at different parts of what a startup might do, and we got together and built an idea together.
Okay, cool. And how did you know that everyone had sort of the same commitment level to that business to take it forward?
Yeah, no one ever really does have the same level of commitment. You can only judge, should this be a thing that we do or not, and then try it. And then you find out in practice. And people's lives have different things going on in them. Like one of my co-founders was a doctor, and he had that pulling him away, and another guy got married and he had that pulling him away. But in the end, we were able to all get together and commit enough time to do the things that we needed to commit within the startup. So I was the CEO. That meant I spent as much, if not more time than anyone, and was doing a lot of the kind of like external work of the company. And then there was a medical doctor doing the research part, and he needed to commit a different amount of time. It was very much a process of figuring out, like, what does our startup need? How much time does that take? How much time does it take each person? And then what are we happy with amongst each other? You split up equity and things like that. Kind of gets a bit more. There's things you can read about how to do that, but they're not the first problem you have. You just need to get started first.
Okay, and you're involved in tech a lot. What advice would you say to help people? Like, can tech help you in starting a startup and with AI?
Yeah, we didn't have AI when I started, and so like reading science papers for medical research technology was like one of the biggest challenging things, especially being someone who I studied some science, but I wasn't a person with a medical or neuroscience background, and that's what my startup did. So AI makes learning things really fast, really easy, and the other thing is like building and prototyping stuff. There's so many tools, even just ChatGPT, that you can use to come up with code quickly, do designs for things. It is a really cool time and really easy to get started. Tech can feel like this like big magic industry where people know things, but in reality, often just people who are prepared to like use what's available and do it really like hard and fast and put themselves out there. And so, yeah, just use the tools and give it a crack.
Okay, so that was Chats in the Trees with Ian. Stay tuned for the next episode.